Welcome back to Books with Dottie. I'm back with another book to discuss, and today I'm talking about The Compound by Aisling Rawle. This will be a full spoiler discussion, my full reaction to the ending, any plot twists, major plot points, characters, etc. So if you don't want to hear spoilers for this book, I would recommend stopping here. I do have a spoiler-free review up for the book as well on my channel if you're interested in that. But let's get into the book. So just as a quick refresher, The Compound is about Lily, who joins a reality TV show where she lives in a house with other people. And there are specific things the residents have to do to earn more amenities, more objects, both personal objects, maybe like hairspray or a new dress, as well as things for the whole house, like food. And a major part of that is that you need to go to bed with a person of the opposite sex every night. Or I should say, you need to wake up with a person of the opposite sex every morning. Otherwise, you are eliminated. And that goes on for a while until there's a certain amount of people left, and then the rules change a little bit. But the goal is to be among the last or the last in the compound, because then you essentially get free reign to request any items that you want, material items. And that is the setup for our story. And when I read the setup for this story, I thought this was going to be a full-on psychological thriller. And there are definitely aspects of that here, but I got a lot of Love Island. And so I guess I want to start with that part. Just how quickly these people in this house were able to pair up and fall in love and supposedly in love. And, I understand that when they're going through the challenges that they are and they're in an intense situation, bonds are going to form more quickly. But I just thought it was just absurd how quickly people, were in love with one another. And you could argue, how much of that was self-preservation in the game. Certainly some of it, and some of the couples, Becca and Tom, for instance, were all about self-preservation. But then you had like Lily, who was in love with Ryan, and then Sam, and, Andrew and Candace. And to me, that was just ridiculous. And, all of these characters pretty much had the same flaws. Now, they weren't all exactly the same, but they're pretty much all, materialistic and vain. And I would go so far as to say Lily might have been the most annoying in that regard. Now, I'll touch on the end with Lily when I guess her motivations change, but for the most part, I found Lily to be very, very annoying as a protagonist. She thought she was better than everybody, both morally and I think like socially and looks-wise, besides maybe Candace, but she was really no better than Tom. She just had to go about her manipulations in a different way. Tom was more of the brute force, and Lily was more the subtle manipulator. I guess there's a couple of characters that I didn't mind. Candace was fine, I think. I kept waiting for Candace to turn somehow, because she was so nice and the most beautiful, and so I kept kind of waiting for her to show her other side. But by the time she leaves, I never really saw that. Jacintha was okay. She didn't really do anything annoying, I guess. And then I did like Becca a lot. Becca was about maybe the only person in the house who wasn't there just solely for material gain. She was quiet for most of the book, and at the end, we really see her turn up the heat and show her intellect. So Becca was a cool character. Sam and Lily, I didn't really get this relationship. They like each other in the book. We never really get a sense of why. It's just like they like each other. Sam was fine. I mean, he obviously gets tired of the compound and goes on his way, but I didn't really understand why they were so into each other. The other thing, I guess, while I'm touching on Sam, is one thing that drove me nuts, and I think it was done by the author on purpose, not to drive anybody nuts, but openly vague and to kind of play up the materialistic nature of the compound and the people in it. But we hear about this dystopian world, really. It sounds like the world has been in wars for quite some time that are ongoing, and men have been all fighting in the wars for a while. And that was weird to me too, because it was like all of these, why weren't any of these guys fighting in these wars? We hear that Lily's dad is there, but these are all 20-something really good shape guys. Why aren't they in the war? I don't think we ever even got close to an explanation about that. And I wanted to hear more about the outside world. This compound was kind of a secure place. I mean, you had the producers, obviously, but compared to the little bit of the outside world that we hear about, compound was a pretty good deal. So for the first half of this book, maybe even 3/4 when it's Love Island, I wasn't bored. It just wasn't my cup of tea. When we get down to near the end, when it's Andrew, Lily, Tom, Becca, who was the fifth? Andrew, Tom, Becca, Lily. Was it Sam that was the fifth? I can't remember who the fifth was. But nonetheless, Andrew basically loses it without Candace. Or at least, after getting nursed back to health by the producers, something changed in Andrew where it seemed like he really, really needed deep emotional connection immediately. Whether that was just missing Candace or just desperate for anyone, I guess I don't know. We really get down to Lily and Tom. And again, I said this already, but Lily was just as ruthless and manipulative as Tom, just in a different way. So when Lily gets Tom to leave, this is where I think the book just gets so stupid. Lily gets Tom to leave, and I can't remember if she gets the voicemail from Sam before that happens or after, but Sam leaves her the voicemail, and the producers give it to her where he's sailing around the world or whatever. The idea that she basically wins, can stay in the compound, and just request stuff. Now, I get it. This book is, commentary on late-stage capitalism and includes materialism, and Lily's kind of transforming, I guess. She's kind of realizing that, I don't know, I don't even know what she wants. Go find Sam, I guess. But the idea that like she could set herself up for life and her family just by staying in the compound, I don't know, a couple weeks by herself. Like, you just went through all that time, put in all that effort to win this game, and now you get to reap the rewards. And you're like, yeah, I'm just going to gather up the stuff I have and leave and go back to this dystopian world. Becoming less materialistic and vain and reaping the rewards of what you just went through are not mutually exclusive. So when Lily gathers up her stuff, makes this sled thing, just walks into the desert, I just thought, what an idiot. You might as well reap the rewards of what you just went through. And you can change your life on the outside. I thought that was just so stupid. That this transformation, and it seemed like it happened basically instantaneously with Lily. Yeah. So I thought the ending was terrible. Overall, this book was fine. It was, certainly wasn't the worst book I've ever read, but I thought that the commentary on, the capitalism and voyeurism as well, I would say, with reality TV, it was cookie cutter, I thought. Anyways, let me know what you all thought about this book in the comments. Maybe I'm way off base and missing everything. But if you've watched this long, I appreciate it. And if you could like and subscribe, I'd appreciate that. And I hope to see you back soon.